Hello students, this is video 7.6 and your objective is I can determine the measure of angles and lines formed from inscribed figures. Okay. You also want to make sure that you understand everything from video 7.5 because remember we only have 2 more sections after today of this unit before the unit test. Alright, so your Excel skill for this evening is going to be U11. Please make sure that Excel skill is done again by Friday, this Friday. That's when it will be checked. Alright, let's go flippers. Alright, so the first circle theorem we're going to look at today is this one that says the measure of the arcs formed by parallel chords are congruent. So here are 2 chords, chord AB and chord CD. If I say to you that chord AB, meaning line segment AB, is parallel to line segment CD, and there's the markings that mean parallel, that automatically means that arc AC, is congruent to arc BD. These arcs will be the same. Alright, so the next circle theorem says 2 inscribed angles that intercept the same arc are congruent. So here are our 2 inscribed angles. So if you look first, we have this angle here, which is black. Let's call it angle ABC. And we've got angle ADC. Okay? So according to this theorem, these 2 angles, which I've marked angle 1 and angle 2, are going to be congruent to each other. Okay, so the next circle theorem is going to be kind of cool, and it says the opposite angles of quadrilaterals inscribed in a circle are supplementary. So let's actually draw a quadrilateral inside of this circle here. So if we look at circle E, so we'll make this circle E, we'll notice that we've got quadrilateral A, B, C, D inscribed inside of it. And what this theorem says clearly is that angles B and D are going to be supplementary. So angle B plus angle D will equal 180. The same thing is true for angle A and angle C. It equals 180. So I want you to understand also that the quadrilateral here, this is not a rectangle, obviously, because this kind of looks different than this side, and all these angles aren't 90 degrees. So it's very important to understand it doesn't have to be a rectangle. It could be a trapezoid. It could be a square. It could be a rhombus. It could be any 4-sided figure. So I'm going to draw another one. There we have it. We can see here again, this angle A and B would add up to 180. And so would C and D. And there we have it. All right. So let's look at this question. It says, in circle O, what is the measurement of angle A? So if we look at the circle very carefully, we can see that O is the center point and the diameter here is shown. So this arc that I'm going to do in blue, that arc there is going to be 180 degrees. And we know that because, again, it is attached to the diameter, which is here 1/2 of the circle. So we also know that a triangle has a total of 180 degrees. So that's all 3 angles of a triangle. And we also know that this is 90. So that angle is 90 degrees. So let's actually fill that in. So that's pretty clear. We can say it's 90 degrees. All right, let's take a look at a couple more here. Okay, so we are given that the measure of FI is 80 degrees. So let's actually put that in, measure of the arc. And then we're also given that GH is 50. So let's put that in as well. So the measure of these 2 arcs are given. Now, because we know that FH is the diameter, that means that the measure of FG plus the measure of arc GH, these 2 arcs have to total 180. So that makes this one automatically 130. And on the other side, these 2 have to add up the same as well. So IH, arc IH must be 100. So now we're ready to kind of go to work with these problems. First question asks, well, what's the measure of angle G? Here's angle G right here. Angle G actually extends to the arc here, which is arc HF, and arc HF is 180, and we know that this angle is going to be 1/2 of that, so that would have to be 90 degrees. And that makes sense because it looks like a 90-degree angle. So let's put that there, and we've got 90 degrees. Next question asks me, well, what is the measure of angle GFI? Well, if we look at GFI, and then we look again at the arc that it is attached to, that will be arc IHG. You can see what it adds to. We're adding 100, we're adding 50. So we know that the actual measure of the angle is 1/2 that. So if this is 150, that must be 75. You have your degree markings there. Then it's very clear that the measure of angle IHG, that also has to be 75, because remember, this is a quadrilateral inside. So we said that the measure of quadrilaterals, the angles that are opposite, would be congruent. So the measure here has to be the same measure here. Next, we've got the measure of angle HFI, and there I'm going across it. And we see that that's connected to arc IH. We know the arc is 100, the angle has to be half, so we know the answer should be 50. If we swing over to find the measure of FHG, so here's FHG, that angle, we see that that's connected to arc FG, which is 130, so this has to be 65 because it is half. Clearly fill in the measure of angle I, that is across from angle G, which was 90, so we know that's also 90. Arc IH, we had clearly filled in before to be 100. And then finally, arc IFG here is 80 plus 130 for a total of 210. All right, so let's look at the first example. The first example says, in the diagram below of circle O, diameter AB is parallel to chord CD. So these two chords, that's right, a diameter is a chord, are parallel. So that means, hey, we have some information that are given as well, and we can answer a question. So CD, arc CD, is 70. So we can actually put that in. This is 70 degrees. Well, what is arc AC? So we're looking for this arc here. Okay, so this question may trick you a little bit, but it's pretty simple. So just think about something. You know that arc AB is 180 because AB is the diameter. So now all you have to do is this. You want to take 180, you want to subtract 70. Why are you doing that? Because you want to find out what the leftover is, right? And the leftover is going to be basically arc CA and arc DB. And the leftover actually is a total of 110. Now, if we know what's true, we know that these two are parallel, then these two, arc CA and arc DB, are the same. So in order to find one of them, all you have to do is take that 110, divide it by 2, and you should get 55, and that's what the answer is. Here's question number 2. And question number 2 says, if the ML and JK, these chords here, are parallel, and the measure of arc ML is 120 degrees, and find all the measures below. So I just want you to do A through D because the picture is not drawn to scale. So really quickly, we know that the measure of angle or arc ML is 120. We can fill in 120. We also know that arc LK here has to be 60 because it's part of the semicircle arc. Okay, and we know that LM and KJ are congruent chords, or they're parallel, so we can actually mark MJ to be 60 as well, because these are congruent arcs because these segments here are parallel. So right away we know that angle 2 here is going to be clearly 90 because it is a part of that diameter. The way angle 3 should be very clear because if we look at it, it goes right to L and K, and we know arc LK is 60, so this angle 3 has to be half. So that would be 30. All the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, so one would have to be 60. Last but not least, we need to figure out what angle 4 is, and here's angle 4. Angle 4 is from K to J, that arc, And we know this arc has to be 120, so that makes angle 4 60. Our last example is super quick and fast. It says, number 3, what is the measure of angle 2? Well, if you look at here, angle 38 and angle 2. And I'm going to use blue and red. So blue, here's an angle. And if we look again, this other angle appears to be sharing the same arc. It is. They're both sharing this arc. That one. So that means that this little angle here, 2 and 38, are the same. So angle 2 is actually equal to 38 degrees. Boom. All right, so here is your secret hot question. It says, in circle P, the measure of arc EN is 66 degrees. It also says that the measure of angle GPM is 89 degrees. And GN is a diameter. There it is. Now I want you to find the measure of arc GM. Can you find the measure of arc GM? Remember to work on your Excel skill U11. Thank you.